Hi, fifth graders. Today we're going to learn about expanded form, simplifying fractions, proportions, and percents. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with number 5, which gives us, and its expanded form, which gives us 94,384. Expanded form is when you're trying to break up something into a larger equation. And if we look here, I wrote that the ones place has 0 zeros, the tens place has 1 0, the hundreds place has at least 2 zeros, and the thousands place has 3 zeros, the 10,000s place has 4 zeros, the 100,000s place has 5 zeros, and the 1 million place has 6 zeros. And the number of zeros increases as the numbers get larger. So as you can see here, when I say 94,000, and we see that 94,384, we see that the 9 is in the 10,000s place, right? So we're gonna write down 9, but since it's in the 10,000s place, we know that the 10,000s place has 4 zeros. So after 9, we're gonna put 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now you can put commas if you want. I'm gonna put a comma to make it look more neater. And once we're done with the 10,000s place, we're going to move on to the thousands place. And it says that the thousands place has 3 zeros, right? But we know that 4 has to go in front of those 3 zeros first. So we're going to put 3, we're going to put 4, and then we're going to follow that 4 with 3 zeros after it. Now, once we're done with the thousands place, we're going to move on to the hundreds place. And the hundreds place is 3, and it follows along with 2 zeros. 1, 2. Now, the tens place, which starts with 8 and follows along with 1 0. Now, we're going to move on to the ones place, which gives us 4, and we're going to follow that along with 0 0. So it's going to be just left as 4. Now, this is your final expanded form for 94,384. And when you add all this together, you should get the same exact number right here. And you could check that by using a calculator or mental math. Now we're going to simplify fractions. And number 8 is what we're going to do together. Number 8 gave us 12 over 48. Oops, that's an ugly 8. Now, there are 2 ways to solve this. It's to either find the multiples or the greatest common factor for both of these, or you could just divide. And what I mean by that is that the 48 is the denominator, so it's going to be outside, and the 12 is going to be inside. Now we know that 48 does not go into 12, so we're going to put that as 0, right? However, we know that 48 can most certainly go into 120, and we have to find the number closest that 48 gets to 120. So we're going to do 1, and when we do that, we know that the closest number is going to be 2, right? Because 48 times 2 is 96, and if we do 48 times 3, it goes way past 120. It gives us 144. So our only option is 2, and 48 times 2 is once again 96. So we're going to divide, and we're going to subtract 96 from 120, and we should get, 24. Now, once again, 48 cannot go into 24, so we're going to put a 0 right here. Let's make this longer. We're going to put a 0 right there and bring it down. Now, 48 can go into 240, and it can go into 240 5 times, and it should be even. Let's check our answers. 48 times 5. Yep, it gives us 240. So 240 minus 240 gives us 0. Now, we're left with a decimal, and 25 over, and the same 0.25 is the same thing as 25 over 100, because the 5 ends in the hundredths place, right? And we know that this can be simplified when we divide both the denominator and the numerator by, we're going to divide both of them by 25. And we should be left with 1 over 4. So the simplified version of 12 over 48 should be 1 over 4. And that's your final answer. Now let's move on to proportions. We're going to do number 9 together. Number 9 gave us 3 over 10 equals x over 50. And let's read the instructions before we go any further. It says, use cross multiplication to solve the following proportions. So cross multiplication is when you draw the little x or butterfly, like I like to call it, and with these x's we're going to multiply them. So we know that 10 times x is what? Just 10x, right? And then we bring down the equal sign right here. Oops, let's put a star. 10x equals, right? And then we do 3 times 150, which gives us 150. Now, once again, we just want the x to be alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 10. And when we divide both sides by 10, we should get x equals 15. So 15, x equals 15. And we could check that out. 10 times 15 equals 150. So yes, x equals 15 is our final answer. Now we're going to move on to percents, and I chose number 3, which is 9 over 10. Converting fractions to percents is not that hard. We just need the denominator to equal 100. So right now we're given 10, and we know that 10 is a multiple of 100, right? And we know that because 10 times 10 equals 100. You could try that out on your calculator to make sure. 10 times 10 equals 100. So we're going to multiply the denominator by 10 to get 100, right? So if we multiply the denominator by 10, then we also have to multiply the numerator by 10. So we're going to multiply the numerators by 10. And when we do, we should get 9 times 10 is what? 90. So we get 90 over 100. Now, once it's over 100, we could change it into decimal form. And if it's over 100, it's the same thing as 0.90. And the 0 ends in the hundreds place. So there you go. And in order to make this decimal into a percent, there's a rule that says that you have to go right 2 times. And so we put the decimal there. And so our final answer will be 90%. If this way is a bit too hard for you, there is another way, which is the same thing as before, just dividing. So we're just going to put 100 over, we're going to put 100 outside and 90 inside, or let's do it with the numbers that they gave us, 10 and 9. So we're going to do 10 outside and 9 inside. So we know that 10 can't go into 9 because it's too small, so we put 0, and so we're going to put a decimal right here. However, we know that 10 can go into 90 perfectly, 9 times, right? Equals 0, and so we're left with 0.9, right? Once again, we're going to put the rule that I stated earlier into use. In order to make a decimal into a percent, we need to move the decimal to the right 2 times. So 1, 2. And there's a blank space right there, so we're just going to fill it up with a 0. And we should be left with 90% once again. So your final answer is just 90%. Okay? And that's it for today. I hope this lesson helped you a bit.